So it is Saturday, March the 22nd, a couple of days after spring. This is a pre-recorded video. We are having some crazy spring weather figures here. Today it's 60 degrees, Saturday. Tomorrow, Sunday, is going to be around 51 degrees. Like I said, this is going to be a pre-recorded video that will be posted on YouTube on Sunday. So I looked at the Vice President's press conference on Thursday. I also looked at the PNC, the AFC's press conference, but I'll mostly be focusing on excerpts of both the two elephants, the PPP and the PNC. The Guyanese critic was asking the hard questions to the VP. It seems as though the Guyanese critic wanted to know why the GRA is taking so long to quickly take away those 4 vehicles from the MOHAMEDs. To the Vice President's credit, and to me, it seems as though he was shooting back at the critic that you just can't go and take away those people's vehicles like that. He told the critic the GRA is not a cake shop, and due process has to be executed. And like I said, in a no-nonsense way, as you will see in the video, he told the critic you just can't go and seize the people's vehicles like that. It doesn't work that way. The second surprising question of the critic to the VP was whether the government of Guyana, through the Guyana Consulate, have reached out to the American authorities concerning the detention of Melly Mel. The VP, I thought, skillfully deflected that question by saying that Guyanese, wherever part of the world, and that includes Melly Mel, they are free to reach out to the embassy. In Melly Mel's case, she is free to reach out to the Guyana Consulate for any assistance, though he's saying that the government may not provide lawyers. But as a Guyanese, she's free to reach out to the Guyana Consulate in New York for whatever assistance she may need. And I threw in a bonus in connection with the PNC's press conference when Dennis Jimenez from the Rare Waves, I think he's a thorn in both the government and the opposition press conferences. Dennis threw a curveball to Elson. Elson is one of the advisors to Aubrey Norton. Elson, if I could remember, would be the economic advisor. Elson is a QC boy, and according to Google, he worked for Goldman Sachs here in New York. Dennis was telling Elson in front of the other panelists, Coretta McDonald. Of course, the PNC's press conference is moderated by Sharika Haynes. Dennis Jimenez was telling Elson Lowe that word on the grapevine, word on the street, is that he's been touted as the PNC's consensus presidential candidate for the coalition. But Elson was smiling, and as you were seeing the video, was saying that he doesn't know anything of that nature. And then later on, I came across this article on Rare Waves, same Dennis Jimenez, Chabral. And this is what Dennis had in his Rare Waves. People's National Congress member Elson Lowe is not strong enough to become the combined opposition presidential candidate to push back against the ruling party General Secretary Jagdeo and his presidential candidate, Orphan Ali, in the 2025 general and regional elections. So says a senior AFC official on Friday. This is on, remember, this is on Rare Waves spin and reading this from, and they have a photograph of Dr. Terence Campbell, the businessman, owning for churches. The AFC official said the opposition needs someone who could aggressively push back against the PPP. While Lowe seems astute, it is obvious that the coalition will need a strong and no-nonsense candidate to confront Jagdeo and Ali. If there is to be an acceptable candidate, outside of Norton or Hughes, it can only be a Terence Campbell type person, according to this senior AFC official speaking to Demra Waves. Wherever you are in different parts of the world, enjoy your weekend. I could remember my nephew driving me through the Georgetown seawall. People enjoying themselves there Sunday afternoon. Lots of activity between the Georgetown seawall and the Kitty seawall. And it was a sight to see people just relaxing with their families, their cars, playing their music, and of course, taking their drinks at the Georgetown seawall. So that's all for now.
Dr. Jagdeo, if I might rephrase from a layman perspective, the Mohammeds have been given 14 days to reply. It is known that if GRA finds something, if it was any other Guyanese, the vehicle would have been in GRA bond. Do you trust GRA's process?
No, GRA has to go through a proper process. This is not a cake shop agency. This is the Guyana Revenue Authority of the country of Guyana. It's not a political body. This agency has to treat taxpayers the same way. So if you had evaded taxes, then you would probably gotten a similar letter. 14 days to prove. It's natural justice too. 14 days to prove that you have met the conditions. So GRA said, here are some findings of ours. So what if one of the remigrants can prove that they actually live here the 183 days per year in the last 2 years? Then that would mean that the information available to the GRA might be false. And then they don't have to worry about the vehicle paying the taxes because they would have met the condition. You have to give the taxpayer a period and they got 14 days to respond to the allegation. It's natural justice. You can't just go and pick up the people's vehicle the same day without giving them that right to respond.
Dr. Jagdeo, in some cases when citizens are held abroad, Consulate for the country would normally find out what is going on with that citizen if there's okay. Has the Guyana Consulate in America reached out to find out what is the status of Ms. Atwell?
I'm not sure about it. They may have or they may not have. From what I gather, there are quite a few Guyanese who've run afoul of ICE, not Ms. Atwell alone. That there are others, and any Guyanese citizen anywhere in the world, if they reach out to our consulates or our offices abroad for help, regardless of who they are, whether they support the opposition or not, they're entitled to be represented, or, well, as far as representation go. If we're not gonna hire lawyers for everybody, but they're entitled to equal representation, whatever that level of representation is. So if as a Guyanese citizen, Ms. Atwell wants to reach out to the consulate, she could feel free to do so.
Good day to Zulu. Can you say what are your chances of becoming the presidential candidate for the coalition? And what would be some of the things you'd like to see being done if you were to give the nod?
Mr. Chevron, you woke up today and you chose violence, man. Listen, at the end of the day, the party has been clear regarding its presidential candidate. If the party is going to make a change, that will be announced through formal channels. and we look forward as a party to contesting the next elections robustly. So that is where I would leave it. I would say thank you for the vote of confidence, but I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Aren't you considered though?
Mr. Cabral, first of all, that would definitely be something for the internal consumption. But secondly, I would say that, as I've mentioned, the party has put forward its position. If it's going to change that position, that will be communicated publicly. And that I think is the appropriate way to deal with these matters.
Distraction or not? Are you is your name included? That's all I want.
Mr. Cabral, that's not for me to put forward. As I said, we have a party, and we focus on dealing with things in a structured manner. And so that's not something I would comment on, other than to say that, as I said, you woke up today and chose violence.
Thank you.